Welcome to the podcast, Soulful Thoughts from Ireland. My name, Meghan, bringing you the earth and mystic wisdom from Eru, and exploring how it can become alive for us and assist us in our present reality, no matter where we live. If you tuned into the last podcast, you would have heard the wonderful interview with Rosaline Durkin on discovering the wells of old in and around the sacred valley of Glendalough in County Wicklow. To continue on the Glendalough theme today, we visit the saint most associated with this area, Saint Kevin, who I had the delight of communing with on my most recent pilgrimage there. And you too can visit and embark upon your own magical pilgrimage in Glendalough, as I have created a 6-day virtual pilgrimage for you, complete with recorded meditations, videos, old Irish prayers, Gaelic heart mantras, music, photos, and more. So no matter where you are right now, you can embrace and be embraced by Eru herself. Look on my website at meghandon.life for more information. But now to St. Kevin, who we can rightly call a mystic and a shaman, who was ultimately made a saint, living in the 6th century Common Era. At a young age, he was seen to be an evolved being and was sent to study with 3 wise religious men. However, feeling too confined, he ran away and found his way to Glendalough, where it is said he lived in the hollow of a tree and communed deeply with the earth and all of her creatures. This was where he found his solace and his soul. Unfortunately for Kevin, he was eventually found and brought back to his studies, but as soon as he could, he returned to Glendalough, where he ended up living in a beehive cell, which is a simple rock dwelling in the shape of a beehive. And there he was, right up the mountain amongst the sacred oaks, overlooking the sacred lake. Many people then began coming there based on his reputation, and in time a monastic community grew around him. But true to his shamanic mystic self, he longed to escape any form of restriction, and he spent long periods of time in a very small cave in the mountains, where he listened deeply to his own heart. In the dark of this cave, however, he also was confronted by his inner demons, as he was not being distracted by anything other. Everything rose to greet him. But ultimately, it was also where he met the truth of his inner light nature. I had the sacred joy of meditating above this cave on the side of the mountain, overlooking the upper lake, which, by the way, is known as a sacred gateway into the other world. One can only enter the cave now by literally abseiling down the side of the mountain, and no one is too keen these days to facilitate this. So I opted for the closest place I could get. And truly, I cannot describe to you all that occurred there, as it was deeply mystical and a deeply magical experience. Certainly the spirit of St. Kevin is alive and well, as is the spirit of many beings there. But this I can share with you. While meditating, I felt called to sing a chant from the ancient Hebrew and Kabbalistic tradition. The chant was affirming the I am presence, or the true nature of we humans. From the moment I began, the waters of the lake began to stir, and there before me, the whole lake became a repeated pattern of these incredible geometric formations. It became clear to me that the lake was taking on the vibration of the chant. When I completed the chant, the lake returned to its normal ripples from the breeze. It was a beautiful sight to behold, the whole lake alive with the energy of this chant. Truly, it was alive. And being a lover of language and etymology, I am delighted to find root words of Gaelic and Hebrew coming together, as I believe Gaelic and Sanskrit also do. And so these ancient languages are recognized here by the very sacred presence and presences alive in this valley, of which I know it is teeming with life in the unseen places that are so close to us. Here, now, today, it's not just some ancient story or some ancient ability to access these other places, but if we can open ourselves to the different dimensional realities, we will find that there are energies, beings waiting to play and commune with us. And it truly does bring us back from any notion of separation. We are not separate from the other dimensions. We're not separate from the earth and her wisdom, or the creatures and their wisdom. We're not separate from the heavenly realities and that wisdom. It is all here, accessible, not only to us, but within us. Just feel into that for a moment, that your wisdom is actually made up of the various dimensional realities and the wisdom from them. So we humans are right there playing a vital role, a vital part in the ongoing evolution of the whole universe. And believe me, there are so many beings, energies that are there waiting to help and assist us and to help us continue on this evolutionary path. So let us call upon Saint Kevin, the saints that we know, the angels that we know, the animals that we know, and those that we don't know. Opening ourselves to truly participate in creating an evolutionary advancement for humanity and for all. That is what Kevin did. And one of the most beautiful stories, and probably the most famous stories about Kevin, was a time when he was standing with his arms outstretched in prayer, with his palms facing upwards to the heavens. And it is said that a blackbird came along and laid her eggs in the palm of his hand. And such was his loving tenderness and compassion that he remained with his arm outstretched until the eggs hatched and the fledglings grew and flew into the world that awaited them. Now I experience St. Kevin's gentleness and his deep knowing and compassion. Truly balm for the soul, and he is truly here now, alive, accessible for us. So I would like to read you a poem that I wrote based on my time while in Glendalough. It was inspired by a communion I had with a doe who was very close to the cave. It is called, What Would Make Me Happy? What would make me happy, you ask? To leave these shoes behind, to run out of these clothes and into the woods, where my skin can breathe the lustrous green, where my feet will pad lightly until they find a bed of moss, where I will curl with ancestor oak, roots cradling, branches protecting, one limb, one body. What would make me happy, you ask? When my wild hair will become a friendly nest for my feathered friends, where in my palm berries will fall when my stomach looks out, and I will bow my head to the earth in morning prayer, giving thanks for this creation called my body. What would make me happy, you ask? To run with the doe through mountain ferns, grazing and sipping at the stream. I will look upon her pregnant belly and tell her she is about to give birth to a great light. A tear will fall from her eye, splashing on my foot, where a badger will come to drink of this precious love. And of course, the otter will come to celebrate this great life with play, and the whole forest will laugh and shake with joy. And when the chill of night comes, as he does, Sister Fox and I will curl together, fur and blood and toes embraced. What would make me happy, you ask? What would make you happy? So I pray that the earth wisdom will find her way to you today and tomorrow and the next day, and that we will all fall into our animal bodies and commune with all our brothers and sisters, no matter their form, no matter in which dimension they live. We are all here together, seen and unseen. May the saints, the mystics, the druid shamans of old guide and bless you. And remember, please visit me on meghandawn.life to see that virtual pilgrimage where you will commune with St. Kevin and the natural environment of the lakes, the mountains, the trees. And check out my books, Feminine Courage, Meditations with Teresa of Avila, and Sacred Companion, Sacred Community, Reflections with Claire of Assisi. Or join the list for a pilgrimage to Ireland, either as a group or as a solo retreat in the future. And please do join me for the next podcast. Blessings on your animal body. Slán.